Welcome to Real Talk with Real Fit Pros, where we dive into everything fitness, business, and mindset. I'm your host, Jonathan Loudermilk, here to bring you raw, unfiltered conversations that will help you level up in life and in business. So kick back, relax, enjoy the show, and let's go get what you're worth. Yeah. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Real Fit Pros. It's your boy, Jonathan Loudermilk, your host with the most. And I've got the boys with me again. I got Josh Riggs and Andrew Carlson for another damn good episode. We're going to be talking about the economy, monkeypox, and all the fuckery that's going on in the world today. And our hopes today is to help download some positive mindset, routine behaviors, basically. How do you control what you can control in an uncontrollable world? But before we get started with today's episode, if this is your first time tuning in, I just want you to kick back, relax, enjoy the show. Your gift to us is that you're taking time out of your busy day to invest in yourself and growing by listening to this podcast. However, if this is at least your second time, you know what I'm going to ask you to do. I need you to like, I need you to subscribe, I need you to tag us on the social medias. Once again, it truly helps us support the channel, but more importantly, the mission that we're on, which is to help each and every one of our Fit Pro brothers and sisters get what they're worth in every area of their life. Let's go. So with that being said, Josh, Andrew, how are y'all today?
Doing fantastic. I needed to have a little bit more enthusiasm the last time. I got called out last time. So, yeah, I'm doing great, dude. I'm doing freaking great. Like, so good. You wouldn't believe it.
I'm just saying, man, if you're going to do a podcast, you can't be half-assing that shit, you know? Like, you're going to show up with some pizzazz on there.
Yeah, I get it. I'm sprinkling the pizzazz on it. That's right.
Well, unfortunately for me, and maybe I can save a couple of y'all, I developed a crippling caffeine addiction through my fitness years. Working in gyms, drinking turbo tea. Y'all ever drink the turbo tea, man? That got me through some closeouts.
No, I've never even heard of that.
You never had turbo tea?
I don't even know what it is.
Dude, well, once again, God, I'm old. This is 2009, 2010, I want to say. And I was drinking speed stacks and turbo teas and all those things. Because you work at the gym, they're going to get a discount. So now I have this like really unhealthy caffeine addiction. Now I've moved to Mio, though. I am moving in the right direction, but you know, it's definitely something I've had to work on.
Is that the stuff you squirt in your water?
Hell yeah, dude. Better than drinking Monsters and all that crap, dude. I was having all... Dude, you were shaming me. You're like, Jonathan,
listen,
come on, dude.
It's not my fault if you don't take care of your adrenals. I'm just trying to help you. Let's get some good quality sleep, all right?
This is what happens when you surround yourself with a gut health expert. Fucking ruins every decision you make dietarily.
You sure you want to be doing that?
Jonathan, no. Do you like having inflamed butthole? Then keep eating that.
Do you want to feel good? Oh, well, interesting choice.
You like prostate cancer?
Do you hate yourself?
Okay. If that's the debate we're having, I'll be guzzling caffeine right now. But
right.
As a gym owner, I have managed to switch from energy drinks to coffee, so I'm going the more natural route.
Yep.
So at least I've made that switch. But no, caffeine is still a very important part of my life.
Well, bro, it's like, how do you make it through an 8, 10, 12 client day? And they're all expecting that same energy, man. Like the 10 o'clock doesn't give a shit you've been there all day because they've been through all day. They want you to be at top shape. So you gotta bring that energy one way or another.
Yep. Trainers never have a bad day in the eyes of their clients.
No, dude, I go into session like normal, Jonathan, and people go like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, bitch, this is my normal energy. This is how I normally am. I'm sorry I wasn't able to be Circus Olay for you today, but this is normal human being Jonathan. But I had set that bar so high, like, man, anytime I was down, it's like they got mad. I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was about to say this. That actually is a really good point with like YouTubers and stuff. Like everyone thinks the YouTuber is supposed to like act like that all the time. if you want to, like, YouTube's like a career path everyone wants to go through now. If you want to be a good YouTuber, be in the fitness industry because you'll get all the reps in you need pretending to be happy. Like, truth is, that's not wrong. That isn't meaning to. Like,
you get good at hiding that deep pain.
it's
I covered it with abs.
exactly.
Oh my God, that's a whole nother episode right there. But dude, I don't want to get too off track. I want us to really talk about, dude, like, and it brought up in conversation today, Andrew, and like, why don't you share, Andrew? You were talking about kind of like where we're heading as a culture and things that we need to be mindful of as we navigate this season and kind of the psychology. I'd love for you to share what you shared earlier with me regarding that, because I think it's really important for where we're
Well,
at
which
right
part
now.
specifically are we talking about? Do you want me to share?
Well, you're talking about like timing with messaging with people, understanding where they're at based on the social and political climate. You know, understanding that was I thought was very insightful because I wasn't thinking that way at all. But like, man, that makes sense. And in order to influence people, we have to understand where they're coming from.
Right, for sure. So one of the things that we're always looking at, especially in terms of like marketing, is timing and everything. So what's happening throughout the course of a year versus the course of a month and the course of a season that people go through. So like we have, as business owners, we have quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. But what's different about this year is this only happens once every 4 years, where we have this thing called the election in the United States. Well, I know there's a big presidential election. Everyone's like, oh, I'm tuning out right now. But that's one of the things that, as we were putting together kind of like scheduling for our workshop, we really had to time out things based upon when we were actually going to do the workshop. Because what happens around November is that basically people shut off for the last couple of weeks in October and the first couple of weeks in November because they're so stressed about the election because of what the media does. They talk about, like, if you look at headlines that come out, the headlines are designed to do what? To get clicks. It's not necessarily to give you information. It's to get you to click a button, and it's to play with your emotions that cause you to stay in a state of stress. Because if you're not stressed out and you want a feel good story, the media, they know you're not going to click on that. You're just going to go, oh, that's a cute little cat. That's for Instagram. That's not for media. So then we get to go look at
what's this Disney movie doing out here? They're like, that's just a good thing that happened. They're like, that's not real.
Right, of course. But if we look at how people are spending their money this whole year, in the beginning of January with one of the businesses I was working with, I was like, listen, do you think that the election is going to play into how your customers are spending? And they're like, no, we've gone through an election cycle before and it hasn't been bad. And then as we've gone through this whole year, it's only gotten worse and worse and worse. People are spending less money. They're investing in themselves less because they're wanting to hold on, because what does the media say? Oh no, we're coming into a recession. Oh no, the presidential election's coming and your money is going to be stolen from you. Like all of these things. So you have to take into account the seasons, including holiday seasons, which is why the health industry, the best season for us comes January. The second best season happens right afterwards, between like April, May, June, right before summer, because everyone wants that summer body. Then what happens in the summer? Everything plummets down because everyone's out vacationing, doing stuff. But then between the fall season, they want to crush it again before the holiday season so then they can eat what they want to eat. But if we don't take into account where people are going or the messaging or what people are focused on, you're always just going to say, you want to lose weight? Well, of course you want to lose weight, but why does somebody want to lose weight? Nobody wants to actually lose weight. They want what they believe losing weight will do for them, the outcome. So when you focus more on the outcome based upon the season in life where we're at, you're going to have an easier time bringing people into the business or enrolling them as clients.
And I think that's a really good point too, focusing on the why of every season. Like, that's something I didn't think about until I always think of the why whenever it comes to like sales. Like, I always tell people sell the vacation. Like, you're selling the outcome, not the like the TSA of getting there. But yeah, that's a really good point of like the why of the season. Why are we not spending money? Well, we're stressed out because we're gonna lose all our money and I'm scared. Like, that makes perfect sense.
Well, and dude, those are all excellent points. And for me, what stand out is, dude, people are putting their source in the wrong place. they're putting their source on Kamala or their source on Trump or their source on Fox or their source on CNN, and none of those sources are truly for you. Like, let's be honest, right? Like, they're not thinking of like I don't care who wins the election. They're not truly worried about you personally and what you're trying to navigate and do what you got to do in your life. So, as we're talking about this, I think about when we put our weight and our value on what our source is, that's like, okay, our source is what brings us our business, what brings us opportunity, and the things that we can control within that source. And not to get too spiritual with y'all, but I put all my source on God this past season, and the more that I invite Him into my life, and I just literally ask Him to come into every area of what I'm doing. I go, I want to build it with you, and I've taken less focus on people, right, in the economy and the season, and I'm just focused on what do I need to do within this season to grow where I need to grow, regardless of what else is going on. And me personally, I'm seeing a lot of tremendous growth. Like, I'm having people come in that I can't even track all the leads coming in. That's how crazy it is. And that's part of why Andrew and Josh, I brought you guys back on to help me with this stuff. And I know that's a crazy thing to say. When people are like, hey, what's your secret for your business success? And I'm like, God, like, you're crazy. There's no way that's your secret. And it really is. And once again, I'm not here to convert everyone to being a Christian or anything, but I will say that if you're putting your source on things that you can't control, you may want to rethink that source.
Well, let's look at it though. If we want to look at it from like a mindset perspective or a perspective shift in and of itself, it's when you're focused on stress, what are you focusing on? The stress. Survival. When you're focused on looking at the economy and watching all the headlines saying the economy is tanking, what are you focusing on? The economy is tanking. So your brain is going to go find every single bit of evidence in your life where that is true. But did you know that you can also reframe that, because your brain, my friend says it really the best way. She goes, it's basically your brain is Google. Whatever you put into your brain, that's going to go search for those exact things. So yes, you can be focused on those things that are the negatives, the economy is falling down, or you can look at people like Planet Fitness. You can look at other companies, other gym owners, other people who are actually thriving and actually making more money during the downturn times, because they're the ones that are doubling down, because they know that people are afraid and they're hoarding onto their stuff. So they're not going to be hiring people. They're not going to be putting together marketing expenses, and they're holding things in. The ones that actually go, hey, this is going to be hard anyway, but I know other people are thriving in this economy. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to double down. I'm going to invest, and I'm going to do the things that make sure that I can do the things that I can control, like what Jonathan just said, and find that perspective to go, hey, people are thriving in this economy. I want to be one of those people. And you do the activities that they do, you're going to win every single time.
It's a great point of just leaning in. When most people are going the other way, I found if you go the opposite way that the crowd goes, you're typically find your opportunities in there. And you brought up a great point, Josh. I know you want to say something. I'm going to cut you off, but you know me, I have to say this, or the thought leaves my body. And then I look like an asshole on my podcast. I'm like, I don't know what to say. Right. But what you talked about, Andrew, is that scarcity mentality, dude, which, dude, like, we're all human. Like, I don't care how, like, if you're David Goggins, I don't give a shit if you're David Goggins. I guarantee he still has a little bit of that pop up. He just got real good at just silencing it, right? And I think that's the spirit of what you're touching on, Andrew, is like we get to control what we focus on. And for me, I use God an example, but you could literally write down what you're grateful for. That's where I started with this. I first started just like, hey, I'm going to write down 5 things I'm grateful for. And some days are harder and some days are easier based on the day. But it is physiologically impossible to feel the physiological effects of stress and gratitude at the same time because they cancel each other out. So it's like, which one do you want to feed?
100%. And I want to give a real life practical example of this, and give a shout out to Jonathan. Who here remembers COVID? Like, I'm pretty sure we've all heard of this weird thing. It's a myth now. But I had my gym open, my first gym ever open, for 3 months when it got shut down because of COVID. And the whole world was freaking out. Every other gym owner I know was like, "Oh God, we're gonna die. This is so bad. We can't, blah blah blah."
Yep.
I was like, oh, well, that sucks. I guess I better figure something out. And then I met Jonathan, brought my business online, and made more money than I did when my doors were open. So, like, it's 100% just like, are you willing to do the extra hard work and go the opposite direction? And on top of that, this is a personal victory for me. All you two keep making fun of me because I don't know what the fuck's going on. And I just prove to you that that's a good thing because I don't know any of these negative headlines. I just keep doing what I'm doing. I just win my little road.
Well, Josh lives in the woods. If y'all
Yeah.
don't know about Josh, and I'm gonna brag on you a little bit too, man. Is like this is Josh's pattern, basically in life. Josh runs hard as shit at everything. Like I'm talking like obsessive, right? And by all means, you don't have to run at that intensity to win. But the reason Josh wins at the rate he wins at is he runs pretty hard at things that he wants to run at. Well, anyway, Josh would end up running that stuff so hard and so long that it's like he'd end up so deep in the forest. He's like, I can't even see the light anymore, Jonathan. I think I lost my axe somewhere. I'm like, Josh, and this was actually from Mark Zalmanoff that gave you this advice. And dude, honestly, it's been good advice for me too. Is he told you to go take a trip, go in the woods, and you disappear. I'll never forget, dude, because I was kind of like, it was a polar opposite advice that I even would have given you because I hadn't learned that lesson yet. I was like you. That's why we get along so well. But when you took that step back and you went in the woods and came back, dude, bro, like you had this whole new perspective and took it to the next level just by taking one step back.
It really does change everything. Like, and I recommend this to everyone now because I really have to hand it with Mark. Like that one decision changed my business forever. Like I literally went from making 250K a year, and within like probably half a year later, I was making $500,000. Like that's the difference in like just that perspective change. And it was all little problems that like once you like zone out and you look at them, they're nothing. But when you're face first in them, they're the biggest things in the world. It's the same thing with these headlines too. Like these headlines seem awful, but if you really back out and you go, does this actually matter to me? Like, can I just keep doing what I was doing? No, it doesn't fucking matter. You just keep going.
And to give perspective to that too, like I started my career in 2008. Now, for some of y'all that may not understand that reference, that was the like last official recession that we had. So that was literally like when I first started, graduate college, had my degree. I'm like so friggin' ready, dude, just to start making money and like get independent, do all these things. And here I am in a recession when I first started. Now, dude, I didn't even know what a recession was. I was an idiot, dude. I was such a D-head back then. I was like, dude, if it didn't have anything to do with exercise, girls, or alcohol, I'm not interested. Like, that was the limit of Jonathan back then. So, needless to say, I didn't have any business skills, acumen. But all I knew was like, I've got this job. I got to figure something out, whether it's hard or not, right? And I'm so glad. I really am. I'm so glad looking back that was my introduction to life, really. Introduction to an adult of building your career because it forced me to have to put in real effort and think outside the box. And needless to say, during that time, I did end up becoming the top trainer in that gym. And that wasn't my intention at all. I just wanted to pay the rent. That was literally my motivation. I was like, I just want to pay my bills and do all these things. But because I controlled what I can control, and I took care of my people and I thought outside the box, dude, I ended up surpassing people that had been there for 5 and 10 years. And I'd only been there for a matter of months. And that's not a brag on me because I was too dumb to even know what I was doing back then. But I kind of tripped into it. But looking back, I'm like, wow. If I was able to do that then, well, this isn't any different. Yeah, there's social medias around now, like real social media. Because y'all remember back then, Facebook updates were like, you'd write in like the third person. Jonathan is going to the movies today. Like, people didn't know how to write posts back then. Andrew, I didn't remember that shit.
Of course I do, because I still get the updates that's like, Andrew, and it just says is, and I'm like, oh, that's when Facebook actually put your name on the status too. I was like, oh yeah.
Right. You didn't feel like I was such, like, nobody knew how to write on social media back then. Well, anyway, but they didn't have any of that, like, forcing all this stuff. So guess what? You didn't know about it, so you controlled what you can control, and you were okay. But now we have access to literally everything. So now we have to learn how to filter and also learn how to disseminate truth. That's a big
Which
thing now.
disseminating truth, the one thing I will say, it's every single thing that you think you should question. So even if you think the economy is going like falling apart, you can just say, this is something that I teach my clients. And I go, is this actually your thought or is this someone else's thought? Most of the time, it's either going to be someone else's thought. And if it is their thought, then what else can you think that's like the complete opposite of that thought? So if they think that the economy is downsliding, well, what's another thought that you can think that's actually better than that one? And like work up to the fact that yes, people are actually thriving in this economy. And as long as I'm willing to do something different and become resourceful, I can actually enroll more clients.
Dude, that's gold.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Wow. Where did I get
it? Clip
Yeah.
it.
Clip it. Dude, for real though. Like, man, I gotta go unfuck myself now. I got a lot of questions.
Right.
I mean,
well, it
honestly,
always just
though,
comes down
that's
to. Go ahead.
Go for it, Andrew. Sorry.
I was just going to say, it always just comes down to we're given so much information. You look at social media all the time, you're looking at headlines, you're talking to your buddies or your colleagues. And even if one of them has a down day and they're like, man, it's so hard getting clients. Sometimes when you're in the right mindset, you're just going to adapt that and think that's the truth. So then that impacts your business. But the minute you start questioning those things is the minute everything changes for you.
I mean, this is a perfect example of the story you just told, Jonathan, perspective. Like, you didn't know what you were doing was hard. It just was.
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't
that's
know
just how it
different.
was. Like, it wasn't like, oh, this is going to be hard. I have to go do it. It was, oh, this is just how getting clients is. Like, this is what to expect.
Well, dude, to give you perspective, my boss threw a phone book at me. No, for real. Like, legitimately was like, all right. And she's like, we're going to, you ready, Jonathan? She's getting me all fired up, too. Like, Jonathan, you ready? You ready to build that business? You ready to use that sports medicine degree that I hired you for? I'm like, fuck yeah, Sharon. Let's do this. She's like, all right. Bam! And I was like, fuck is this, Sharon? Because this is a phone book. I was like, you want me to, what? Let me get this straight. This is where you want me to build my business? She was like, yeah. And then I saw two other trainers look down and look at me and look at each other and look back down. And both were like, all right, I guess we'll do this. It was in that moment. I was like, Sharon, I love you to death, but ain't no fucking way I'm calling the damn phone book. That is stupid. So I said, hey, Sharon, do you have an inactive training list? She goes, what's that? I go, everyone that used to train. And by the way, I have no business acumen. I just thought of this. I was like, do you have anyone that used to train doesn't train anymore? She never thought of this. She gave me that list. Bro, it was like Shark Week in that gym, dude. Every trainer was like, oh, like trying to steal pages. I had to take half of them home because we were supposed to share them, and nobody wanted to share them with me, even though it was my idea. So I took half of them, threw the other half in the air, and said, figure it out. I took them off. And I swear to God, I think somebody got an elbow in the face during that exchange, but I had half my pages, and I was like, I'm good. And I called them, and that's how I built my business, man. I just convinced people that had already spent money to use the thing they spent money on. And I re-signed all those people.
Genius. I love it. And that was in the middle of a recession, too. And that's like a perfect example of like people are willing to spend money and put their money on things that they still value.
Yeah, and I'm not smart. I'm lazy. I don't want to call people from the yellow pages. That's a hard sell. So what's a better way to do it? So I guess the point is there's multiple ways to climb the mountain, skin the cat, whatever analogy floats your boat. But start asking yourself, what do you really want and what makes sense to get you there? And in this instance, it made a lot more sense, though. Let me just reach out to people that are already have paid for the service, and now all I have to do is convince them to give me a shot, which is pretty easy. It's like, dude, you already paid for it. I'll give you the first two for free. If you like it, cool, let's roll. If not, let me at least get you with someone else. How do you say no to that? Pretty hard.
Pretty straightforward.
You know? So just another idea of thinking outside the box. But, you know, what I'd love to hear from you guys is like, and I've been really Man, I'm always in this mode of refining and optimizing is like the daily routine. Because man, as you said, like you can have one day where you're crushing it, and next day you're like, man, I don't even know if I should be doing this. I should go get a job. Which, by the way, those are all normal thoughts. If you're an entrepreneur, if you don't have those thoughts, you're not entrepreneuring hard enough. Anyway, as you're going through this, but I would love to hear like some of the daily routine stuff that you guys have figured out that works for y'all to help like combat all that stuff because it's work you have to do every day. Like if you're not guarding your mind, I promise you, even if you take a day or two off, Andrew, I've already got so many questions I have to re-ask myself now. Was this my idea or someone else's? But if you're being vigilant about it, you're being the true gatekeeper, man, we don't have to give those thoughts any more energy. That's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the things that y'all do that work for y'all?
Andrew, I feel like you're gonna blow mine out of the water, so I need to hear yours first. I'll be the one who wraps it up with the less good stuff.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, that's it. I don't do any, like, I don't meditate. I don't sit in a ice bath. I don't do anything. All I do is I wake up, I go to the gym, and I get to work. And whenever anything comes up throughout the time, because the one thing that I do know is the more time I spend doing things, the more productive I'm going to be. And the minute a roadblock comes up, I'm the one that goes, okay, basically, is this my original thought or is this somebody else's thought? Do I truly believe this? And then if I truly do believe this, what's something that I can choose to believe instead that's more impactful and positive that's going to serve me in the future? And then if I really am struggling with I can't shake this off, what I'll do is I'll close my computer or I'll like take a step away for 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes maximum. But I basically will do something that I'll scroll on Facebook, watch a couple of videos, I'll find something that makes me laugh, I'll do a couple push-ups, I'll do something that moves me out of the zone that I was in. Because most times when we start getting into that mindset, we start like falling ourselves down, our shoulders start slunching down, our breathing gets shallow, and then we start feeling like this anxiety around it. And that's not going to serve us for anything. So essentially, I'll like throw my shoulders back. I'll maybe like do a superhero pose and I'll kind of like go watch a motivational video or something that gets me out of that mindset frame, or I'll do something physical. But then I only allow myself that 5 minutes or that 10 minutes or 15 minutes maximum to feel that way. And then by the end of that 15 minutes, I command my own brain to basically say, you're done after this. We're not believing this to be true anymore. You're writing down a new belief that you're going to believe to be true is, and then you're going to move forward. And yes, I've been doing this for the last, 13 years. So it's easy for me. Some people, like I have clients that it takes them a full hour or a full half a day to get over something that's really been struggling with them for that. But for me now, it's such a routine where I'm like, do I really believe that to be true? No. What can I choose to believe instead? Cool. Then I get back to work. And it's just been something that over time I've been able to compress it down and down and down and down. But I don't need anything else that really motivates me into action anymore. It's like I know I need to do the work. I'm going to do the work anyway. Does it suck sometimes? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm going to do it because I want to continue making an impact in this world.
So, yeah, man, it's not really like, how do I get myself motivated? It's like literally what you just said. It's like, dude, how do I block those thoughts from even taking root? And it's so funny, dude, on what you're sharing. Like, I'm doing some of it. I just didn't think about it the way that you like are obviously really intentional with it. So I started running at night because I noticed that's when those thoughts pop up when I'm alone, girls are asleep. That's when, dude, I'm talking like I've literally had to like smack myself in the head and go, stop it. Like just crazy thoughts. Like, where is that coming? Like I'll be thinking about someone who did me wrong like 10 years ago. Fuck that guy. I'm like, why am I thinking about something that happened 10 years ago? So for me, like I started night running. And like you said, you'll get your body moving. Dude, it's made such a difference. Just running at night, getting the endorphins going, putting on something good. And dude, those thoughts, like, dude, they don't come in nearly as much since I started doing that. And it's true with the keeping yourself busy because I don't have them during the day because I'm constantly moving. So it's like idle hands are the devil's playthings.
Right.
I completely I didn't think of the way you worded it either, but I too have like very conscious breaks in my day on how I stop those things from happening. I have a very methodical morning. Like I'm also a big advocate for like faster get to work, faster get shit done. So I'm also a part of that. But part of my job is I kind of bounce between a visionary and an integrator role. If you know what those are, read the book. Is it Rocket Fuel, Jonathan?
Yeah, Rockfield.
Rocket Fuel. He recommends that. Life changing. Definitely read it. But I have to jump between those as an operator and a CEO. So I'm constantly like trying to think of problems. So the first thing or think of solutions. The first thing I do in the morning is I wake up, I make myself a cup of coffee because caffeine, and then I sat down with my dog and I literally just sat there and think. And I'm not the type of guy that comes up with ideas while I'm working. I have to come up with ideas before I start working. So that's when I come up with my visionary ideas, like my long-term plays. Came up with our workshop idea doing this, things along those lines. As soon as the 30-minute timer goes off, I literally have a timer set. 30-minute goes off, I get straight to my computer. I get to work. I work for a couple hours. I like work, except for our meetings. I don't take any meetings until noon. So I take meetings all the way, or I work all the way up until noon, start taking meetings. Then I take my dog for a walk and I have another 30-minute to an hour long walking session where I'm, again, going back into the visionary mindset, thinking long term, not doing as much integrating work, just worried about like the big picture of things. I come back, get back to work, and then I work at the gym around 5:30. But I literally don't allow myself to have the time to focus on anything that isn't moving my life forward. Like if it's not a thought that, and I'm sure this is just comes with practice, like Andrew said, we've done this for so long. If this thought is not moving me forward, it does not exist between the moment I open my eyes to the moment I go to bed because it doesn't matter to me. Like my only goal is to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
So I literally am like, if I'm thinking about the groceries, it's out. I'm finding a different way. I'm having someone else get me groceries. Like I don't care anymore. This is not my thing.
Right.
So,
No, I think it's a great point too, is like you can get creative with how you spend your time as long as you're clear on how is this moving me and my life ultimately to where I want to go. And I'll give an example. So like one of the things us three started doing is we started playing 7 Days to Die together, right? Now you could look at that and be like from the outside and go, here's three guys that are, working together and they're just fucking off playing video games, not productive, right? Well, I see it differently. I see it as I only get to see you guys a couple times a week through a screen. This is another way I can keep building a relationship with y'all. And also, we're building unconscious teamwork without realizing it. Ain't that funny? Have y'all, I don't know about y'all, but I've noticed like, dude, we're really humming right now versus a couple weeks ago. Like, yeah, we're getting there, but like, dude, it's like a big difference, right? Within a couple of weeks of where we're at. And I believe part of that is me like, all right, I want to spend time with y'all. You guys are part of my family of choice and we're building this together. We need to invest time together. How do we want to spend that time? And we had just happened to agree that playing 7 Days to Die was the fun way to do that. So it's like, think about that in your business. Like how many things could you do? Maybe you like to do for fun, but add some intentionality to it, to the life that you want to build with the people you want to build it with.
And
But
if
the
you
thing
play
about that
enough,
is, go ahead.
and if you played enough, you might get your cardio in because you'll hear a sound outside and run.
Listen, Josh.
All right, you gotta tell
That
a
was a
story
terrifying
now,
story.
Andrew.
Yeah. So if you don't know what 7 Days to Die is, basically you kill zombies. And so the zombies, they make noises when they're about to attack you. And then you're like, crap. And you don't always see them all the time. So there's a lot of jump scares in the game. Well, over the weekend, I was at a hotel and we're walking, my spouse and I were walking through a courtyard. And all of a sudden I hear this. It was dark. It was midnight. We were walking back to the room. And all of a sudden, out of like the shadows, I hear, rah! I jump. I'm like, what is that? I literally thought it was a zombie. And I was like, no. So I jolted away from it. And I was like, oh, man. I can't believe something outside of the game is impacting me from inside of the game.
And dude, I know you live in the Philippines too, man. They got some crime down there from what I hear.
Not too bad over on the beaches.
Not too bad? Okay.
Not too bad. I haven't seen it. I'm sure in the city, like where I live, yeah, there's a bunch of it, but I stay protected because I don't go out often.
Well, you got great survival instincts either way, dude. It's like, like I'm the type of guy, I'll watch horror movie and be like, why the hell is he going? Why white people got to fuck around to find out? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I think that's something that the whites need to learn.
Yeah, you don't go into a door where it's like, oh, it's closed and that's a dark room. Let's go down the stairs. No, you stay away. You keep the door closed.
This is
leave.
This is where I closely align with black people on this one. You know, they know better. They're like, fuck that, hell no. I'm like, I'm with you. Let's get out of here, fam. Like, but white people got to fuck around and find out because they like to play around with that stuff. I don't play around with that shit. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it 100%. Real.
But the key point that you've made here, though, is you said a 3-letter word, and it's the one word that people tend to get rid of the minute they become stressed. And it's the thing that they take away the quickest when finances get tough. And that word is fun.
CRM.
You stop doing the things for you. FUN. Fun. You stop doing the things that you enjoy doing because finances are tight, the business is stressful, you no longer have the time because you just need to make sales or whatever it ends up being. You get rid of all the things and you're constantly working, and then all of a sudden you burn out, and then you end up doing something stupid because you made poor decisions.
Right.
But you have to start implementing fun in your business and in your life in order for you to continue down this duration and this pathway to being this entrepreneur.
Well, dude, there's a great lesson in that too, because especially if you do online, you can get away with this a little bit in person, but it's still just as important in person. There's an energetic exchange that happens when you meet someone. Like, that's just going to happen whether you want it to happen or not. So when you start getting to the point where you're excited to just be there, like I'm talking about a kid in Disneyland, like, I don't know, I can't even ride half these rides. I'm just glad I'm here. You know what I mean? You carry that spirit with you and that enthusiasm. You know what's crazy? It'll attract a lot of business for you because, especially in coaching, most people aren't given any type of investment, love, encouragement, belief, any of that. That's why they go out and they hire people to input that in them. So when you can naturally exude that, there are people that will literally pay just to be around what I call the fire. And that's that intensity and that energy. But the only way you can control and manifest that is by, like you're saying, Andrew, it's like, what am I doing to put myself in a spot where I can be truly aligned with doing what I love to do and having fun along the way? And that energy is contagious. It's damn near infectious when you start developing that. But it starts with you. Because if you don't have that energy, like, you're going to run into people and they're going to bounce right off of you and you're not going to know why. Like, I said all the things I'm supposed to say, but why won't they move forward? It's probably your energy.
100%.
I mean, that brings in Newton's first law of what? Newton's first law. Energy that stays in motion, like that, an energy that's in motion stays in motion. But that's the thing. It's an object that stays in an object in motion is going to attract the thing that continues to stay in motion. So the more you are energetically moving forward, you will attract people who are looking to move forward.
There's some physics nerds out there that just like lost their shit, Andrew.
Yeah.
You don't know. Like, I love you, brother, but there's someone out there going, oh!
Did I ever tell y'all that when I took physics in college, one of our assignments was to make like a circuit? And what me and my buddies did is we made a strip club with Barbie on there, and we played T-Pain as the music that would play, and Barbie was just spinning on the pole. that was our project. And he gave us an A on it too. His name was Dr. Brett. I'll never forget. He was laughing so hard. It was me and 2 other guys. All the girls were just like, I was like, whatever, man. I was like, my project's you built a lame light bulb circuit. I got Tiffany up here working to pay off that sugar daddy money. And I was like,
okay, I cannot.
Physics.
I cannot let this go by without telling you a similar story real quick, and then I know we're running over this.
Podcast is spiraling out of control.
Yeah. Okay, you got your business value, now you got your entertainment value. So I was part of a media class, and we had to make. It was back when Java Paint was really big. It was like basically like moving paint images is essentially what it was. And we did voiceovers to it. And my idea was I made a birth control commercial, It started off with these two people, and they were like, getting to know each other, seeing each other on the side of the bar, and they like go back to the girl's place, and the girl's like, "Did you bring protection?" And the guy goes, "Yep," and he pulls out a pair of Crocs. And the next scene is him standing outside and her shutting the doors in front of his face, and it's like, "Crocs, you won't get laid." I
That's
got
awesome.
suspended for that. I got suspended for it.
Oh my god, dude, that's like birth control. Crocs.
Crocs.
You don't need a vasectomy. Crocs.
It's the Crocs.
I thought it was hilarious, and like my teacher laughed. He went, "That's great. Go to the office." I was like, "Oh, great. Okay, see ya."
Oh, hang on. Keep talking, fellas. My mic's messing up. Keep going.
We can still hear you if it helps.
That was so funny though. You got suspended for that?
Yeah, I got suspended for that. But we've been talking. I think we've been flying the ship for long enough. I think it's time to bring it on home. I brought it home last week, so Andrew, it is your turn. Wrap this all up, buddy.
Oh, I'm wrapping it up? All right. So, I mean, over the course of this podcast, we started talking about the economy and how, how to control things that you can control in an uncontrollable world, and how you should stop fucking around and finding out and just focus on the things that you can control. And with everything that's going on in this world, the things that you can control are the things that are all up here, your mindset. So if anything that you're struggling with when it comes to your business or your life, and you think maybe it's not the thing that you should be thinking anyway, ask yourself, is this even a thought that is mine, or is it someone else's? If it's not yours, throw it away. If it is yours, shift that to something that is actually true, that you want to start thinking instead, that's going to be moving your business forward and your life forward. Because if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards, that means you're dying. So stop dying, start living. And with that, Jonathan, what's the closing remark?
This is perfect timing for my audio to resume. I'd be like Andrew Carlson. Let's go get what you're fucking worth already. Yeah.
There it is.